All of these come through our viewpoints. And the great thing about that is we have the ability to either fix or flex our viewpoints. So many people have fixed viewpoints around so many things about child rearing, uh, political agenda, religious belief systems. And when you have an emotional attachment to a viewpoint, logic, reason, fears come into play, and they lock you into thinking and getting away from these thinking emotions rather than feeling emotions. So I invite you to look at things differently. And it doesn't matter. It's like what your spouse might have just said, how someone acted driving down the road, or in the case of what we're going through right now with this coronavirus, how to look at it. So one most important word to me is viewpoint. The second one is gratitude. Learning to be grateful for everything that ever happens. There was a time in my life a number of years back where things were really terrible. And I read in the book of Philippians where it said, be joyful always, pray continually, and thank God for everything. And I made it a habit, a duty of mine from that point on to be grateful for everything. No matter, you get pulled over by the police, okay, thank you, God, let it happen. Whatever it is, be grateful. Look for the reasons later. Don't start searching for the right reason right now. Just be grateful and approach it fearlessly. Because when you're grateful, fearlessness can step aside. If you're grateful for everything, there's nothing more to be afraid of. We have two paths going on right now. There's one path of people that are saying society owes everybody. We need to protect everybody. Yet when we study what we call rights, you've heard me talk, many of you, about rights, responsibilities, and regulation, the 3 R's for change. But the word rights, we're really realizing is a whole different word now than it was a couple of weeks ago. Because the virus doesn't respect your rights. Nature doesn't respect your rights. The virus wants to respect its desire to live, its desire to thrive, to grow in the world. Left unchecked, it could become disastrous. It may become disastrous. We're not out of the woods yet. We have a responsibility to do what the regulators are trying to do right now. So when I think of rights and responsibilities, I see where we are, but then we have these regulators. And they're doing everything they can to help us. They need our help. Now there's another viewpoint, and maybe they're going to be able to come up with the science, because when we start looking through the viewpoints of the beauty of philosophy, the viewpoints of the consistency of nature, and the facts of science, we start to see things a little bit different. We get a broader perspective on what's really happening in the world. There's another way to look at this that I don't mean to scare anybody, be doomsday about it, but one of the things that we seem to lost our right to do is the right to die. And that's an important right. I don't see my time, so I hate to interrupt myself, but can you tell me time? I can't see my timer.
You're at 4 minutes.
Okay, somehow you lost me on this. I lost you on this. There we go. Now I see it. I'm sorry. Going back to my talk. The right to die is an interesting right. It's the one right that's been taken away from us. Throughout history, it's the one right that everybody always had. But in lieu of what we call civilization, regulation, responsibilities, that right to die has changed. And we're facing a very unique time in history. If we beat this virus through science, if we beat it through technology and learning, and we will, I have every confidence we will beat it. What happens is so unique. The Spanish flu, I don't know if many people know this, but the Spanish flu killed more people than World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam put together. And it's a pretty startling statistic. This virus could do the same thing. But I'm going to say, let's be grateful for whatever it does, because if it turned into a calamity like nothing else, and we still have the fortitude to fight on, we are all, as a world, as a nation, going to come away stronger. What is important is our grandchildren's grandchildren, taking care of our grandchildren and seeing the planet we're leaving behind. What a lot of people don't realize is just a couple weeks of slowing the economy down, of slowing the world down. Cities all across the world are reporting cleaner air. Rivers are cleaning up quickly. Mankind has become almost a parasite on the planet. At the turn of the 19th century, there were 1.4 billion people on the planet. Right now, we have 7.5 billion people on the planet. This is not doomsday. This is simple practice. It's logic, reason, and understanding. If it were to hurt us all in a bad way, the good news is our grandchildren's grandchildren will inherit a safer, more comfortable place to live. But it takes us being responsible. It takes us being grateful, fearless, and having the fortitude to step forward into the difficult tasks that are ahead. It's possible that in the next 72 hours, science comes up with a way to beat this. That is a certain possibility. Yet there are still things that are going to be left behind. There's going to be an economy in shatters. There's going to be a whole different change of thinking. Get ready for that change of thinking. Be grateful for everything. Move forward into life, and life will treat us all in a wonderful way. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jack. You always have a way with your words, the creativity in how you bring forth your messages. You always leave us room to think about what you say afterwards as well. So thank you for your viewpoints this evening. At this time comes the second section of our meeting, which is our table topic session of our meeting. And tonight, we will be welcoming Toastmaster Henry Dow as our table topics master. Toastmaster Henry Dow, welcome. And please put your hands together for Toastmaster Henry Dow.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. I appreciate everybody coming today and showing the fortitude to show up during this crisis that we're going through. And this is our table topics part of the meeting, our favorite part of the meeting, where you will be able to test your impromptu speaking skills. The theme of the day is thriving in uncertain times. And the word of the day is fortitude. I encourage you to use the word fortitude in your impromptu speaking role. And let's get started. The first question: would a life without fear be favorable to a life with fear? Would a life without fear be favorable to a life with fear? And I'm going to call on Mike Cantave.
All right, do you hear me all right, Toastmaster Henry?
Yes.
All right, thanks. Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Would a life without fear be favorable to a life with fear?
Well, I think in those times, the fortitude of the mind is something that's going to keep us going. And I think while having fortitude, it is also important to have fear, because fear, as long as we don't let it control us, as long as we don't let it overtake us, fear is a guide. It's just an indicator to let us know, hey, be careful in that direction that you're going. In those times, it's a reminder of be cautious of what you're doing. But fear can also be used in our everyday lives as an indicator of our comfort zone. And our growth happens on the other side of our comfort zone. So every time we feel that fear, we have to acknowledge the fear, push through the fear, and pass through the fear so we can get the reward on the other side of fear. So at the end of the day, I do believe that a world with fear has a role in today's world, as long as we don't let it consume us, as long as we don't let it overtake us, and we stay and we let it and we recognize the role that it plays in today's society and the role that it plays in our lives and the essential role it actually plays in our growth and the indicators that it gives us when we encounter our comfort zones.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Toastmaster Henry.
Okay, the next question is, what is something positive that you've gotten out of the COVID-19 crisis? What is a positive that has come out of the COVID-19 crisis? And I'm gonna call on Jennifer.
I had a feeling I was gonna get that one. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and invisible guest. What is one positive thing that has come out of the current situation that we're all in? And I would say it is the community of people reaching out to each other, not just in Toastmasters, but we all have a little bit more solidarity now, a chance to reflect on our own personal lives, to get more connected with our higher belief system, to take time for ourselves. So before this, we were all running around trying to get to the next meeting, the next place, to see so-and-so, to meet that deadline. And now it's almost like the universe has said, stop, slow down, take care of yourself and others, and get reconnected. When I walk outside, I see kids playing and laughing, which I didn't get a chance to see before. Now that I'm working remote, I get more time to spend with my husband. We both work in polar opposite directions. I work in Juno Beach, he works in Delray. So now it's good for us to spend time together. I get a chance to talk to my mom more often, and you just see people trying to help other people as well. So that's in my personal / private life, but then also with Toastmasters, there is a meeting scheduled for next week that they're trying to have as many different representatives across the globe as possible on one meeting Zoom. That's amazing. That just shows that we're all trying to deal with this together in solidarity. Since we're all no longer allowed to hug and, worship with each other, we can do it alone, but together. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Hey.
I would definitely agree. I've had a lot of family dinners in the past week, so it's pretty refreshing. Okay, the next question is, well, it's not a question. Pretend that you are the President of the United States and you are addressing the nation right now. Pretend that you are the President of the United States and you are addressing your nation right now. And I'm gonna call on Brandon McCauley. Excuse me if I didn't pronounce that right.
Hey, Table Topics, Henry, thank you very much. So, as the President of the United States, one thing that I'd be very cautious of for all of us is to really think during these times of downtime, what's the best way for us to leverage and to use our time to be as efficient, as effective as possible? And if you haven't read the book, Good to Great, it's a phenomenal book. And one of the things that it talks about, out of 1,435 companies, what they do is they pick the top 11. And over the course of 15 years, what they recognized is out of these almost 1,500 companies, the reason why they picked these 11 is because what they did was over the course of, I want to say it was about 11 to 15 years, they went average, and then over a 15-year period, they went up. So what was that? Why did that happen? And they did a very intensive study to figure out, okay, out of 15 companies, out of 1,500 companies, what made all the difference? So the reason why this is so important is because during a time when there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of questions and what happens is, and what makes you raise to the next level, what they found was there was 3 very important takeaways. So if you're going to take anything away from this conversation, here's what I recommend. Number 1, you got to love what you do. So if you love what you do, then you can be the best at it. Number 2, can you be the best at what you do? So you can love it, but are you the best? And number 3 is, does it make financial sense? So you can love what you do, you can be the best at it, but does it make financial sense for you, yes or no? So during this time right now, as you have time to reflect, and you have time to think about, where do I want to be? Who do I want to affect? What can I do? What value can I bring to those around me? Now is right now a phenomenal time just to clear your mind of everything you've been working on, focus on the things of where you can have the most impact. And if it meets all three of those, once we get past this, because we have a tendency to go up and go down in terms of recessions and times when we're doing phenomenal, if you can meet all three of those requirements where you can be the best, have it make financial sense and love what you do, then once we get past this hurdle, it's a chance for you to thrive truly as an entrepreneur. So my challenge to all of you is to take that time, answer those three questions, and if you feel very confident in what you're doing, then you can have a tremendous impact on all those as we transition from this time of inclusion to the time of just truly prospering.
Thank you for that amazing insight. And you beat the time. I thought you were going to go over time, but you had it. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask the timer, do we have enough time for more table topics?
Table topics at this time is closed.
Okay, that concludes the table topics. Thank you for your participation, everybody.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Toastmaster Henry. What a great job. This is going to be a challenge to vote tonight. Wow, we have really stepped our game up in each area. I am going to go ahead and send out a poll that you get to vote for the best table topic speaker. I do not see who you are. It is anonymous. So please go ahead and
Where do we vote, Stacy?
Where's the link
Oh.
sent to?
Oh, okay.
There we go.
There you go.
Lacey, we didn't do a vote for the best speaker. Is that going to be later on?
yes, it is. Thanks
Okay.
for asking. Okay, I believe everyone is complete. Great job to each of you. This is great. I don't have to count anything. I don't need to unravel the papers tonight. It just does it all for us. All right, let's see. All right, and poll. All right, we will be complete with that. And now for the third section of our meeting this evening, which is our evaluators. The first evaluator that's going to be evaluating our first speaker of the evening is going to be Toastmaster
Eon.
Eon Green, the one and only Eon Green is going to be evaluating our beautiful Toastmaster, Shay Greaves.
Yes.
Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank
Eon.
you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Shay. When she asked me whether I wanted to be her evaluator, I was honored. I was looking forward to this time. I love Shay's unique way of saying stories, telling stories. She's not overpowering. She's not overly dramatic. She has her own calm but effective way of telling stories. And I really liked that part of it so much. I'm going to talk about her facial expression, which worked greatly for her here in the Zoom session. And I'm going to talk about it in my improvement segment as well. First of all, what Shay did very well was the transition, progression of the stories. She started with the story in the school, and I was hoping, and she didn't do it, I was hoping that she would move from that past and go straight to the point, and she did it so well. She did not dwell in the past experiences. A couple of times she said, fast forward. And I was happy to hear it. Fast forward. Fast forward now. Now, what is my leadership skill? What did I learn from the past experiences? And that was really good. And I liked the fact that Shay talked about 3 points that she wanted to share with us: taking control, be of service, being innovative, and all these were really on point. And the word choice, when she said the teacher unleashed all the fury, and that really was so strong, and I liked that expression so well. If I want to share one area, because I could not see Shay in her full form on stage. I was focusing on her facial expression. Shay started well in the beginning with a great gentle smile, but when Shay got stuck, I could see, if I do this, you can all see my face so well. My son does it. He's a performer. He's on the piano. When he makes that split-second mistake, I catch it. I see it. So please control your facial expressions. You are doing good, but when you are stuck, just be smooth. Don't let anybody see it. Other than that, wonderful, Shay. Really enjoyed your storytelling.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hyun Green. Our second evaluator of the evening, who will be evaluating our famous Toastmaster Jack Miller, is Gary Nooper. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Gary Nooper. Woohoo! We got Gary 2 weeks in a row. This is a gift.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. And good evening, especially to Toastmaster Jack. Toastmaster Jack always has a wonderful way of sharing his thoughts and viewpoints on current situations that are going on in the world. I think his speech was very relevant to what is going on today, and he always has an interesting and sometimes contradictory opinion about things. But I love how you're able to share your thoughts in a well-structured way. You use great confidence when you speak, great body language. You use great tonal variety to emphasize some of your points, and definitely had some interesting points, like that we've lost our right to die and that nature doesn't respect our rights. I think some of those thoughts were really good and thought-provoking. One area that I think would have made your speech even better, and Toastmaster Hyun touched on that a little bit, and it's maybe something that we can work on. I know I'm sort of doing the same thing now, but just when you're giving a speech, if you're able to stand back just far enough that we can see your hand gestures, because we could see you were doing lots of hand gestures when we caught glimpses of that as they flashed across the bottom of the screen. So I think we're all busy learning the platform, and we'll get more comfortable with that as we go forward. I did like how you used the word of the day multiple times as well. Fortitude did work well with your speech. And I also liked how, in spite of figuring out the platform and trying to understand the timing, you were able to continue your speech as if that didn't happen, and you got straight back into it and continued very fluidly. So I think I wanted to commend you on that. Another area I think, and I'm not sure if you did provide an introduction for your speech, if it was in the agenda or if the Toastmaster received that, but that's something that we'll just need to make sure with the new platform as well, if we figure out the introductions and the evaluation and the purpose of the speech. I think Stacy had some points with that, so we'll work on getting that sorted out. But overall, it was a wonderful speech, and I really liked your phrase, be grateful for everything and fear can step aside. I think that's a wonderful phrase for all of us going into this time. Good job, Toastmaster Jack.
Great evaluation, Toastmaster Gary. Great evaluation. Thank you for that. Timer, were each of our evaluators on time this evening? Oh, you have to unmute yourself there.
Thank you. With the exception of Gary Nooper, who spoke 3 minutes and 10 seconds, all evaluators were within the allotted time.
Okay, so every evaluator is in the allotted time. Our two evaluators that we will be evaluating this evening will be Toastmaster Gary Nooper and Toastmaster Hyun Green, and Toastmaster Shay Greaves and Toastmaster Jack Miller for Best Speaker. I'm going to launch your voting sheet, and you will see Toastmaster Connie and Toastmaster Jennifer McDougall on the form. Please do not vote for them as they did not speak this evening. Please vote. Beautiful. We have all of our votes are in at this time. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And at this time, I'm going to call upon our general evaluator of the evening. I'm sure she has much to share with us this evening. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for Toastmaster Micheline Nembard.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Toastmaster today and guests. I don't think we have guests, but all members. If one thinks of a club meeting, we miss this role. If one thinks of the club meeting as a project, then think of the general evaluator as the quality control manager. As a general evaluator, my responsibility is to ensure that all speeches, all leaders, project evaluators know their responsibility. Supervising the timer, the all counter, and the grammarian. Making sure each activity is performed correctly and evaluating everything that takes place during the meeting. Now I will share my evaluation. Did the meeting start on time? Yes, we were on time today. As our second meeting on Zoom, I think we're getting really good at this. Were the guests welcome? We didn't have any guests. We do have Toastmaster Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. I think she was welcome. For the Toastmaster Day, were the meeting roles explained? Yes. Stacy, you did a great job. We're trying to figure out our roles still. As our second meeting online, I think that we can do some more improvement next week. I think we need to focus on the roles. If we're signing up for a role, we need to make sure that we get that information ahead of time before the meeting starts. Topic Master, Henry, you did a great job. The theme was stated correctly. Were the topics appropriate to the audience? Yes, it was. First, those who, you took the order of the roles. So you did the members and then you took the new person. Brandon, welcome. So Henry, you did follow the rules of Toastmaster. That was great. The all counter. The all counter, David, you were on mute, so we couldn't hear when you were making the points. So I think you probably just got one of it when I think on the table topic someone was speaking. We heard one thing.
Well,
So,
I just realized that if you press the space bar, it will unmute it for, like, you know, for as long as you keep the space bar pressed. So, generally, the total number of fillers used by the club today was 11. The most filler used by a member was 6. The most commonly used filler word today was the double star. The following Toastmaster did not use a filler word during the meeting. That was Mike, Jennifer, Mike and Jennifer. For your individual tally of filler words, please message me, I guess, after the meeting. That concludes my account report, General Evaluator.
thank you. Now we're gonna move over to our grammarian, Toastmaster Sobia. You're on mute, Sobia.
Yeah, can you hear me now? I was giving me a hard time unmuting myself. So, few notable phrases or words I heard today. It's like, we were human doings before, now we are human beings. Well, that's the one, like, as good thing we heard that. Unleash the fury, then no other, unleash the fury in her, then no other can do. I am a leader no matter what age I am. We have the ability to fix or flex our viewpoints. It's in our hand. Learning to be grateful for whatever happened, and then fearlessness can step aside. Love what you do and try to be the best at what you do. And another thing I heard, it's like good to great. I've already heard that this is a very good book, so it's on my list to read now. And these are, and the word of the day has been used 9 times correctly. That's what I noticed, if somebody else noticed. So this concludes my grammarian report.
Thank you. And with that said, this concludes my evaluation report, and I'll turn it back over to Stacy, Toastmaster Stacy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. Great job. Love always your pay attention to detail. It enables us to take a look at ourselves, take a look at the meeting, and see where we can fill in the gaps with our greatness for the next meeting that we have. At this time, I am going to announce the winners this evening of our Toastmasters. Hold on one second here. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. And we're going to...
I might make a point before we get too far here. I think you missed part of the timer's message when he said Gary didn't make it because he talked for 3 minutes, not 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He actually went over his time.
No, so the just point of order here, Jack, it is 3 minutes and it's 30 seconds is the time that he's able. So he actually has 3 minutes and 30 seconds as the evaluator.
Table topics goes for 2 minutes and...
He was an evaluator. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I was thinking tabletop.
Okay.
And I goofed. Shut up, Jack.
Okay, so we are going to announce our winner of the evening for, let's see, we're gonna do table topics. Everybody make some noise for table topics, right? Winner of our table topics this evening is Toastmaster Jennifer McDougall. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's your trophy. trophy. You get a trophy tonight. Can you see your trophy?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're
Yes.
Great. And the winner for the evening of the best speaker of the evening, let's all put our hands together and make some noise, is Toastmaster Jack Miller. Woo! And the winner of the evening for the best evaluator this evening is Toastmaster Gary Nooper. Thank you for each and every one of you coming forward this evening and showing up, not even just for yourself tonight, but for the team tonight, showing up for the team. And that's so important, is because I've learned this a long time ago. When the team doesn't need you, you may need the team. And when the team doesn't need you, you may need the team. So I am going to conclude this meeting this evening by saying thank you very much, everyone, and I wish you a most peaceful week. Diving in introspectively, being a support to yourself first so that you have the authentic way of being and being authentic for everyone else and supporting everyone else. Take care of your health. And next week, I'm going to just ask one question to our dignitary, Jennifer McDougall. Jennifer, are we still on for the contest in April, the area contest?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, fellow Toastmasters and invisible guests. We are still having our area contest April 18th from 9 a.m. to noon. There was a little bit of back and forth with the district if we were still going to have the table topics contest. We heard last night, I believe, that we are still going to have table topics. So I believe Shay is representing the club for table topics. Is that true? Or Sylvia?
So
There was an issue that
I think
It was Sylvia.
Sylvia.
no, but it didn't say I cannot qualify because I didn't have all the pathways done or something.
No, so
Oh, that
the only contest that you need to have level 1 and 2 complete is the international, which is the next contest. That's the only one that has that requirement.
Okay.
Point of order here, excuse us. So I was actually going to be out of town that weekend, which was when we were planning on going to Mexico, and Mexico is not happening.
Oh, right. No travel.
Oh, yeah.
We won't be traveling.
We'll be
So,
here.
Wonderful.
yes, so I will be representing the club at this point.
Wonderful. Yay. So yes,
you're
we are
off the
still
hook.
having the contest. I'm working with the contest master now to get everything together. It will be virtual. So this is good practice for all of us when it comes to the contest, so that we're used to communicating in this manner. Maybe we can work on a couple of facial gestures like both evaluators mentioned today. Maybe work on looking more into the camera, which is something I'm trying to do right now, versus the other tiles on the screen, so that it comes across like you're still in person giving that speech.
Yes, great feedback there, Jennifer. Thank you.
No problem. Yep.
What we're going to do is next week, Toastmaster Alonia will be doing the contest master role. We switched our contest from this week to next week because in order to be a participant in the International Speech Contest, you must have completed level 1 and level 2 in Pathways. Again, Jennifer, I do have a question.
Yes.
We have a new member that actually has almost completed his CC and CL at this point and hasn't yet started on the Pathways journey. Is he eligible for that contest?
Yes, so Brandon, as long as you've completed 6 speeches in the legacy program, you're also eligible to compete.
Okay, thank you.
I assumed you were talking about Brendan.
Yes. Thanks, Jennifer.
Mhm.
Perfect. So anybody who is willing to step up, who has completed level 1 and level 2, or has done 6 speeches out of the legacy program, you are all eligible to compete in our next week's contest. What is the contest again? It's
International Speech
International
Contest.
Speech Contest. Thank you. I lost my thought and my words right there. Thank
No
you for that.
problem.
And
At
it's
this time, we are going to ask each one of you to pay attention to Elonia's emails asking for the support of the different roles. The functionary roles are still, they're a little different, of course, than our weekly roles. So please pay attention to her emails, and also we will have the new agenda up by tomorrow so everyone can sign up for the different functionary roles. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add at this point? Okay, at this point and time, we will conclude our Wellington Toastmasters meeting for the evening. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome, Brendan. Thank you.
Since no one hung up, I'm just going to say real quickly, I like the idea that you hit the space bar to come off mute, the one thing, and what you said for me, get back so you can see the hand gestures, get away from the camera. Those 2 walkaways I thought were important for the Zoom meetings.